battle a fearsome enemy, and become a soulful warrior. What more could you want? It's Cybernet! We speed into this week's show with the return of one wild and crazy varmint. Yes, Crash Bandicoot is back in yet another wacky adventure. Following the events of Crash Twinsanity, this time it's outrageous auto combat in Crash Tag Team Racing for all consoles. Here you hop behind the wheel with that rascally Crash. He's up against the evil Dr. Neo Cortex, who's hatched a plan to trick you into a series of dangerous racing competitions. Your goal is to become an expert racer and defeat Cortex and his minions once again. Aside from Crash, players can choose characters such as Von Clutch and Pasadena and dominate courses spread out over 5 worlds. The key to winning isn't necessarily how fast you drive, but how you knock rivals off the track. To help, you can pick up some pretty bizarre weapons, ranging from projectile chickens to explosive monkeys. In the game's most interesting feature, you can combine your car with an opponent's vehicle mid-race to create a massive supercar. This tactic is very effective, especially if you acquire a turret to fend off enemy racers. Also, you can always abandon your vehicle to explore the environments for bonuses and upgrades. As a diversion from racing, there are loads of mini-games and side missions. You can engage in target practice with floating sheep. You can also bowl, where you actually go inside the ball. Keeping up the pace, a split-screen multiplayer option allows up to 8 players to engage in a fast-paced battle. Overall, Crash's jump into the racing world is definitely a worthwhile experience. While games like Super Mario Kart are more refined, Crash Tag Team Racing combines intense racing combat and fun platforming, making this a unique title that's sure to please players of any age.
You can have a lot of fun dancing in the rain. All your problems washing down the drain.
Are your brats suffering from a lack of clothes and accessories just because you're short on cash? Well, your old pal Cybernet is here with some money-making tips for Rock Angels on the PlayStation 2. Once you acquire the brat's office, go over to the cheat computer and enter the code HOTTIE. That's HOTTIE. We've just loaded your pockets with 6,000 blings! So now you can take your girls on one amazingly huge shopping spree. Your only concern is whether your shoes match your hat. Good luck! Let's take a trip back to the heroic shores of Paragon City. This time, the criminal elements have revealed themselves, allowing gamers to finally play as supervillains. So don your cloak and prepare for City of Villains on the PC. In last year's massive multiplayer hit, City of Heroes, you were able to create and take control of a superpowered character to protect the city from criminals. Now an evil mastermind by the name of Lord Recluse has appeared on the Rogue Isles outside the city. So you must join his cause to bring down the forces of justice. For those who already played as Heroes, there are several differences between these two games. You still start by creating a character, although now you have new costumes and weapons at your disposal. There are also new archetypes such as the Mastermind, who can summon henchmen to do his bidding.
Main differences are that you can be a bad guy in City of Villains, and you're going to be a low-powered supervillain who starts his career by breaking out of a prison and joining the ranks of Arachnos. climbing your way up the top through a villainous organization so that eventually you can be one of the master schemers, planners, and masterminds in this organization that threatens not just Paragon City, but the entire world.
Taking a cue from World of Warcraft, the developers have set up player versus player zones where you can battle against other villains or take on heroes. Though this does allow for some cosmic scale brawling, it's not as cool as being able to fly into the enemy's cities and create havoc. However, one great new addition is that now you can add bases where your supergroup can recover and respawn.
One of our biggest goals with City of Villains is to set a new standard. In City of Heroes, it was with our costume creation, probably our most lauded aspect of the game. Well, we want to do the very same thing, but with bases, and having them be fully customizable so that you can tweak everything from the geometry to the object's place, the textures, the colors, so that every supergroup, hero and villain, can create their very own layer.
Unfortunately, the missions tend to be rather short and somewhat repetitive, and the fighting mechanics just aren't as polished as other massive multiplayer games. Also, you tend to fight other villains more than your heroic counterparts, which seems kind of silly. All in all, if you were a fan of the first game, City of Villains will appeal to you. Our hope is that the sequel to this series will allow both the heroes and the criminals to interact with each other more often. Okay, it's time for Cybernet's Top 10 GameCube chart. At number 10, take out other cars as the driver or gunner and take the lead with Crash Tag Team Racing. Our favorite one-man riot is back to tear up the streets in Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction, smashing into the 9th place. Take on some terrorists as highly trained soldiers in Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Lockdown, securing number 8. Work with your team of mutant heroes to save the day in X-Men Legends 2 Rise of Apocalypse at 7. Play as your favorite wrestlers and go for the championship belt in WWE Day of Reckoning 2, fighting its way to number 6. Engage in cute combat with Nintendo's version of a war game in Battalion Wars, shooting up to number 5. Use Spidey's webbing to swing through the city or Venom's power to crush foes in Ultimate Spider-Man at number 4. At number 3, make the world your playground on skateboard or bike in Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. Simulate the life you always wanted or the one you think you have in The Sims 2 at number 2. But at the top, it's football pros playing for fame and glory in FIFA 06, our GameCube, number 1. Over the course of history, mankind has witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations in every corner of the globe. Well, if you ever had the desire to build your very own empire, now is your chance, because it's time to match your wits against the greatest leaders of all time in Sid Meier's Civilization IV for the PC. Beginning with its debut in 1991, Civilization has always had a reputation as one of the premier real-time strategy series. Happily for this 4th edition, the developers at Firaxis have incorporated new technologies and enhanced the graphics, sound, and gaming interface. Additionally, the action now plays out in full 3D, while the view has been changed to a straight-on perspective. You begin by selecting an empire to represent. Then you're off to explore and harvest the land with a tiny group of settlers. From there, you'll build cities, create workers, and investigate your surroundings. At first, life is extremely primitive, but as your civilization expands, it'll become a complex modern society. Eventually, this will require you to bring culture and prosperity to your citizens while keeping them safe from outside forces. Like previous editions, it's important to maximize the skills of specialists such as artists, tycoons, and scientists. That means you'll need to do some research, learn about other people and places, and discover new inventions like the printing press and gunpowder. This time, religion has also been added to the mix, which is used to manage happiness. What's cool is that all this information is presented by Leonard Nimoy of Star Trek fame.
Not at all similar are the race of the immortal gods and the race of men who walk upon the earth.
While movements are still performed in the same turn-based method the series has always used, nearly every other aspect has been refined. They've smartly streamlined time-consuming elements and eliminated unnecessary management duties. Plus, there are a vast number of customizable options, allowing alteration of units, environments, and even how fast you'd like events to progress. Additional online and multiplayer modes are also extremely well executed. Sid Meier's Civilization IV is a triumph and easily one of the best RTS games of the year. Anybody that drives a big rig for a living will tell you that these 18-wheelers break down a lot. Well, thankfully, you have friends at Cybernet that can help. So write down this cheat for Big Mother Truckers 2, Truck Me Harder on the PS2. At the main menu, select the Trial by Trucking option, then press Circle to activate the cheat screen. Then enter No Damage. That's N-O-D-A-M-A-G and E. If you're not too road weary, you probably figured out that your big rig is now invincible, so nothing will stand in your way. Smash past cars, buses, and anything else that dares to cross your path. Have fun and stay tuned for more cheats. Coming up, we conquer our fears, go on a dangerous operation, and become a real sword swinger.
Absolute, raw, pure emotion carried you through it.
You're a fighter, and you're fighting for your chance here.
You know what? You are a star.
You were fantastic.
We haven't seen a singer like you for a long, long time here.
You've got the X factor, the fun factor, and the sex factor. You've got everything.
That is just brilliant. Thank you. I can't believe how far we've come.
I really feel that I deserve to be here.
The X Factor Final, Saturday from 6:40 on ITV1.
Darling, listen to me. Don't do anything rash. Whatever you do, you must not step down.
It is a fundamental right for a man to marry whoever he chooses.
But you are not a man, sir. You are the king.
The weight of an empire.
Have you seen my reputation recently?
Could not break.
I've been so happy in all my life as I am right now.
The bond of true love.
Stolen their king. This is your heritage.
The world knows I love
The
her.
drama premiere, Wallace and Edward, Sunday at 9, ITV1.
Welcome back to part 2 of Cybernet. We blast into our second half as part of a classified strike team known as FEAR, or First Encounter Assault Recon. This group was created to deal with threats no one else can handle, so get ready to go on a brutal mission with FEAR on the PC. In this first-person shooter, you and your teammates from FEAR are sent to destroy a cloned army of super soldiers. This paramilitary force is under the control of a mentally deranged psychic who's ordered them to hijack a multi-billion-dollar aerospace compound. It'll be your job to stop this madman and contain the crisis. Unlike many shooters that simply require you to mow down everything in your path, this one smartly balances intense combat with suspense and creepy terror. So while there's a huge emphasis on decimating the enemy, you'll also encounter loads of supernatural imagery. All these events unfold in a captivating story that really holds your attention. A majority of the gunplay occurs in extremely close quarters, which definitely amps up the atmosphere. As for weapons, the selection is varied and powerful, giving you access to everything from submachine guns to pistols to plasma guns. First aid kits and body armor can also be picked up to replenish your health. Plus, as a cool assist, you can engage a slow motion effect, allowing you to stay one step ahead of the enemy. Although conventional in many respects, this game is extremely polished and well-designed. The on-screen display provides plenty of vital info, plus the sharply crafted environments are highly interactive. Bullets create craters as they hit concrete walls, while boxes tumble when hit. The sophisticated AI also creates very challenging levels. Enemy soldiers crouch and hide in a very lifelike manner, behaving as if they're in a real squad. About the only time the pace slows down is in the stealth sections when you need to sneak up on your foe. However, there's never a problem with slow play during the frantic online multiplayer modes. Adding to the game's appeal are the very impressive visuals, although it's worth noting that you'll definitely need a high-end graphics card. 2005 was filled with first-rate shooters, but fear outshines them all. The mature, visceral combat combined with paranormal elements makes this a compelling thrill ride. Still trying to fight your way through the swarms of invading alien foes in Advent Rising? Well, Cybernet might be able to give you some assistance, so grab a pen and take down this cheat for the Xbox. Pause the game and enter this code on the D-pad. Up, up, down, down, left, right, white button, black button, and then the X button. You now have access to a cheat menu, allowing you to activate a variety of cheats such as God Mode or unlimited ammunition. You can only do one cheat for every code entry, so you have to enter it again every time. Now get back to blasting those no-good aliens, and we'll get back to finding more tactics. Over 4 years ago, the developers at Bohemia Interactive scored a major military hit on the PC with Operation Flashpoint. Now it's been converted into an updated Xbox version called Elite. In this tactical shooter, you assume the role of a Marine during the height of the Cold War. Gorbachev has just been elected to power, and a rogue Soviet force has attacked NATO territory. It's your goal to infiltrate enemy lines, topple the opposition, and restore peace to the region. In all, there are 2 major campaigns with over 15 solo missions. To succeed, you need to implement a plan of attack against enemy forces, so every decision is crucial. As for weapons, there are over 30 available, from sniper rifles to standard machine guns. One of the highlights here is the focus on realism. Whereas other army shooters give you large amounts of medical packs, here you must have a medic attend to your wounds. Also, your character is authentically fragile, so one direct hit will put you down. This adds a deep element of strategy because every step could be your last. In addition to foot-based squad missions, there are plenty of vehicles to command. You can hop into a helicopter, boat, or a transport jeep to cover ground quickly. Also, you can pummel the enemy in a massive tank. Sadly, the controls here aren't very responsive, so at times, manning one of these vehicles can be difficult. The best feature of this title is the Xbox Live capability, where you battle against players around the world. Unfortunately, this doesn't save the game from being inferior to newer, more developed titles like Rainbow Six. Even though it was released just a few years ago, Operation Flashpoint now feels quite dated. We speed into our game of the week with one of the best arcade racers on the market. So to say that this 4th installment in the popular franchise had some big tires to fill would be a gross understatement. Has EA succeeded in raising the stakes again? Let's find out as Burnout Revenge slams onto the Xbox and PS2. In this edition, it's not just about winning, it's about vengeance. While past games rewarded you for taking risks, in Revenge, you earn boost by using underhanded tactics in your quest to obtain total road domination. To assist you in this endeavor, there's a brand new ability that allows you to check traffic. Much like hockey, you can now sideswipe or slam cars from behind, sending them crashing into your foes. All the modes that made this series a smash return with a few additions. In Traffic Attack, you'll race against the clock in a mad dash to destroy innocent motorists. In elimination races, the car that's stuck in last place is eliminated. And finally, in Grand Prix, the driver with the highest points scored at the end of all 3 races wins. Once you start winning, you can unlock Crash Breaker. This can be combined with Aftertouch so that once you crash, you can detonate your ride to take out as many of your challengers as possible. This allows you to exact instant revenge on those that messed you up, while also keeping you in the race. Graphically, this title continues to impress. The cars look and handle superbly, and the courses are fluid with lots of nasty choke points to navigate. Plus, the jumps are massive and are loaded with shortcuts that help you save time. And as always, you can race a friend via split screen or take the hard-hitting action online with up to 6 players. The Burnout franchise delivers once again. The game's track design is phenomenal. The breakneck speed is exhilarating, and the addition of checking just increases the destruction. Although not as challenging as previous editions, Revenge delivers the best thrills on the block, making it our game of the week. En garde! Here at Cybernet, we're always ready for a good fight, and they don't get much better than this. Draw your sword and hone your skills as we take on Soulcalibur III, slashing its way onto the PlayStation 2. A group of warriors is once again drawn into a struggle, chronicling the eternal battle between 2 mystical swords, the evil Soul Edge and the heroic Soulcalibur. This time, after Soul Edge's defeat in the last game, the character Siegfried has finally separated from his dark self, Nightmare, and embarked on a quest to destroy the evil weapon once and for all. If you've ever experienced this series, get ready for the best weapon-based fighting simulator on the market. For those returning to the franchise, not much has changed, but the fighting is as good as ever, with enhanced graphics and tougher challenges. Almost all the characters have returned from previous episodes, including some from the original game called Soul Edge. Most of the moves and combos are still the same, but some have been altered to make them easier or harder to achieve. The ability to choose alternate versions of weapons and armor has returned as well. Along with new levels and plot lines, there are 3 new characters, and while they are firmly integrated into the story, they have no unique qualities. The big addition to this game is the new array of customizable options, such as altering characters' colors and creating new warriors from points you earn while completing challenges. There's also a new story mode added called Chronicles of the Sword, which lets you battle through an RTS-style game to conquer a kingdom. Despite how awesome this game is, it does have a few flaws. Most apparent is the lack of online multiplayer modes, which is a huge letdown. Also, the new options and characters just aren't that cool. And considering how much we love the differences between each console's versions on the last game, it's disappointing this one is only on the PS2. So if you've got an itching for some sword-swinging, high-flying action, give Soulcalibur III a try. The fighting elements truly are amazing. Let's just hope that for the sequel, they take the battle online. That's all from us. We've come to the end of another episode of Cybernet. We promise to be back soon, though, with more great game coverage. Don't forget to keep in touch via email. So until next time, here's more military madness from Battlefield 2, Modern Combat, compliments of Cybernet.
Friday morning here on ITV1, and now it's the latest ITV News headlines.
Hello, good morning. I'm Faye Barker. There's been a high turnout in Iraq's second election since the US invasion. Sunni Arabs who had boycotted the previous election in January turned out to vote in large numbers. The results will be announced in a week's time and the new government will take power in January. European leaders have gathered in Brussels for a summit which will finalise the EU budget. Despite deadlock over the common agricultural policy and Britain's rebate, Tony Blair hopes to agree a proposal by the end of the week. A second man has been charged with the shooting of police officer Sharon Bezhanivsky. Mazaka Imtiaz Shah was arrested in South Wales and will appear before magistrates this morning. WPC Bezhanivsky was shot as she investigated a robbery in Bradford in November. Trevor McDonald has said, and finally for the last time on ITV News at 10:30. After more than 30 years as a newsreader and reporter for ITN, he stepped down as news anchor. He was Britain's best-loved presenter and also ITN's first black reporter. So Trevor ended his final bulletin by thanking those who supported him throughout his career. That's it. I'll be back with more news later.
The towns that have banned Christmas celebrations. We find out why in Tonight with Trevor McDonald on ITV1. That's tonight at 8. Now, it's Night Screen.